swimming against the flow of time, weaving the spell of repair. By Fern, Azolla. Smoke, fumes and poisoned water, parched land, tall buildings and engine noises. A place where green is scarce, but somehow a fern sprouts and grows. Raised in a polluted urban environment, this fern longed for their true home, where the sky is clear, among sweet grass and tall trees, to escape from this concrete confinement. The poison spreads like a wildfire, bringing wreck and havoc in its wake. Days passed by until one day, a raven comes by to make an invitation to reprieve. The raven has heard Fern's woes and says that she too would like to escape this concrete confinement to the island of Loka. From what Raven has heard, Loka's island is unharmed by pollution. The island lies somewhere beyond this black smolder kingdom of the colors. However, no one was able to pinpoint its location, since the ones who had gone in search of it never returned. It's like they disappeared into a different universe entirely. Raven wants to go, but she is scared to take such a leap of faith alone. Fern accepts without hesitation. Thus the voyage to find this mysterious land begins. Their first challenge was to fly through the thick smoke and fumes that shrouded the parched land before the poisoned air could destroy their lungs completely. With the strong beating of Raven's wings, they managed to soar through the dense smoke, but it still wrings their lungs out of breath. As a consequence, they have to take refuge at a nearby coast before continuing. Once they have regained their breath, though not fully healed, they take flight towards southeast. As they ascend, they notice that the archipelago surrounding the color's kingdom is barren, and that the gloom is accumulating and expanding to nearby lands. Seeing this, Raven flies as fast and as far away as possible towards Loka's island, Fern looking on while furled tightly onto Raven's claw. They keep on gliding through the sky without resting, for fear that the shadows will reach them. Time passes, for how long they do not know, because they have let go of their consciousness and aim straight on towards their heart's calling. Before they knew it, they have entered Loka's realm, and all the weariness from their long travel disappears. Loka and all kinds of life forms greet them. Heart filled with warmth and happiness, Raven and Fern weep tears of joy. Others reach out and comfort the duo for the rest of that day. It only takes them a twinkling to settle in. It's as if they have always belonged there. And they have. Year passed by serenely in Loka's forest. With the power of nature, Raven and Fern are fully repaired from the damage brought upon them by the colors. Now, they help new arrivals fleeing from the color's grasp to heal and recover. Everything has found a balanced rhythm on the island, and nobody can see the darkness approaching. At first, it is unnoticeable, but by the time they realize, it is already too late. The ominous smoke drives the enchanting and verdant land of Loka, along with the inhabitants, to the brink of extinction within days. The fire and smoke billowing all around them, making it impossible for Raven to rescue Fern. Thus, Raven leaves for a safer place. Fern watches terrified as the destruction happens. Loka tries her best to help, but has been drained of their powers. Then the world turns pitch black. Silence takes over Earth. Time seems to slow down, almost to a halt, but time never stops. Time will always keep flowing, not straight like a river or stream, as we often perceive it, but time revolves like an ocean. Time is a loop, a circular pattern, and thus with time the dormant earth slowly awakes. Life emerges once again, and so does Fern. Fern then picks up a pencil and starts creating marks that unfold into stories, bringing life to their dreams and fantasies, myths and magic that weave the enchantment of repair. Creating ripples through mark making and silent stories that slow down the flow of time. One of the first wordless stories that Fern tells is the tale of Loka, fair terrestrial, and that fateful day. The realm where Loka resides is peaceful, full of lush greenery, with myriads of living thoughts going about their days. Loka is the spirit of the earth, always on the lookout for those in need, and maintaining the equilibrium of the world. Fern glides through the thickets of the forest, greeting the residents along the way, just like any other day. Little does Fern know that there's an impending darkness looming on Earth. It is small and slow at first, but once it starts, its pace quickens. Droplets, no matter how small, will eventually gather into a puddle and then a pond, affecting the balance of the surrounding. As Loka traverses through the forest, degradation begins to unfold. Murky water seeps into the river, and the leaves on Loka's hair turn brown, one by one. Just before Fern notices the color's presence, Fern meets a distressed little bird. The fledgling is lost and doesn't know where he is or who he is, so Loka takes him under her wing. Fern named him Larry. Distracted by the charm and charisma of the birdie, Fern did not notice that fair hair colors are fading away. The color's presence grows as time passes. Rubbish and waste begin to build up on the forest floor, and to ashen the area contiguous to it. Gloom replaces the verdant land, draining away the color and life force of the earth's Loka. Plastics and debris of all kinds fill the river, ripping away the purity of the water. A spark strikes at the edge of the forest, lighting up the sky with flame. Loka notices the fire and flies throughout the forest with Larry to warn all the residents in the realm about this threat. The entire island is swallowed in flames. All surviving living forms gather at the heart of the forest where Yggdrasil stands. The sight of the world tree is heartbreaking. The great tree is burning from within and slowly turning to ashes. A mysterious black rectangle appears in front of the Yggdrasil. All are surprised and horrified, but little did they know that the rectangle has been there for a long time. It was invisible to their eyes. Telling others to stay back, Loka floats toward the dark mirror-like frame to investigate. As Fern reaches her hand to touch it, the world flips and darkness envelops. Slowly drowning in the abyss, Loka is greeted with grim tribulations, gnawing Fern into pieces until there is nothing but darkness and silence. Time slows down, almost to a halt. Desolation occupies the earth until the tale of Loka loops back to where it started, the emergence of life. Through the rich and detailed illustrations situated in a fantasy world that mirrors reality, readers are able to see themselves. Fantasy invites the reader on a wild journey of invention to contemplate the effect of their actions on the lives of other living beings and ultimately the earth, reflecting back at them as they gaze upon this mirror, the world of visual metaphors and imagination. A window to ecological awareness and repair. In the beginning, Loka, an eco-fable, is created to raise awareness of the ecocide that is happening all around the earth, so that the story acts as a catalyst for readers to reflect upon their actions, leading to the change in their mindset and lifestyle towards a sustainable future. This changes as COVID-19 hit. My already poor mental health became even more severe. It has been a tough year and I was stuck in the loop of depression and anxiety. I found myself longing for nature more than ever since I was forced to leave the luscious landscapes of Cornwall to a place that is full of pollution. Nature is scarce here, and because of this, the graphic novel has taken a different turn, transforming towards enchantment and healing, a celebration of nature's and all life forms, be it real or in myths, fairy tales, and imagination. Nature's grace and elegance, combined with drawing illustrations, helped me tremendously. Working on Loka is my anchor, the act of making marks, seeing the illustration gradually taking shape, helped ease my mind. Through creating this fantasy world of Loka, I escaped the pressuring world to the realm of imagination. Loka is my sanctuary, my safe space, a place where I can just let my mind flow along the marks and immerse in nature's wonderland. The illustrations are created using a combination of color pencils and graphite. The contrast between them creates a glow, unlike in other mediums. Once I start making marks on the paper, I'm absorbed into the novel's universe and drawing all the little details, slowly building Loca's realm with every mark. Using color pencils and graphite makes me learn to accept my flaws. Every mark has a story, though we often see some as a mistake. They are the foundation that form a base of existence, the ocean of life. The mind evolved in the ocean. The origin, the early stages of life, and evolution all took place in water. Water made this possible. As life forms evolve, they took the sea with them. In their body are cells bounded by membranes, the remnants of the sea. We all started as a single root that branches out as time eddies. We were once all connected, a part of a bioplan, the webs both seen and unseen. The web of reciprocal rhythms created from a myriad of reverberations enable all living beings to become attuned to one another, as well as themselves. Through this, they are able to communicate and make sense of the world around them, forever moving in a circular rhythm of negative feedback loops, or reciprocity, keeping the earth in equilibrium. However, humans have severed this rhythm, and consequences follow, leading to devastation. Loca, as a purely visual graphic novel filled with detailed illustrations, is the beginning of the voyage of reconnection. To repair one's link with the natural world and all its inhabitants. First of all, is to keep the oceans of time and one's mind at bay. To set sail, one has to have time and imagine what the passage toward restoring ecological balance feels like. To imagine the impossible, one has to move beyond language into the realm of inner speech and inner picture, the stormy oceans in our mind that create a loop, a whirlpool interweaving the construction of thoughts and perception of presented information. These are conjured from imagination to make sense of the world and what lies beyond it. With the gale of time and imagination at present, the raft is adrift. The next challenge is one of imagination and empathy. To continue, one must realize that all lies ourselves through animism, a form of imagination that sprouts from the intimate engagement with all thoughts in the world. Through inner speech, one becomes attuned with the other selves to the point where one becomes another being with that other self. A stream unfolds. That stream leads to the open-ended story of imagination and metaphor. A fairy loop of ecological awareness rises, and with it rises the creation stories, myths, and fairy tales that form one's identity and orientation to the earth. And this is where the last gyre appears. The gyre that encircled all above the others, which I will call the picaresque of true and untrue. This dual character of true and untrue in fictional stories opens a Bermuda Triangle to the discovery of deeper meaning that lies beneath the pictorial story. Entering into fantasy world of tales allows one to pause and think, to use their imagination to grab hold of what lies beyond the facade of visual narrative while reflecting upon real life. The presence of visual metaphors, imagination, fantasy, and stories further slows down the flow of time, evoking ecological awareness or alignment. They are the most potent tools of restoring the earth, as well as one's relationship to the natural world. Stories restore one's relationship with nature, and our relationship with nature bears stories. These stories are embedded in one's imagination, churning up myths and all kinds of tales that pass through generations, leading back to the ocean, the wellspring, where all living beings are connected once more. Everything starts from the ocean and ends at the ocean, unceasingly creating gyres in the ocean of time, moving along the stars, galaxy, and the earth. An interconnected rhythm that moves against the flow of time. Loka is also a gyre. Every time you visit, it will morph, shifts, and grows on you. As we swim against the flow of time, deep in the picaresque of true and untrue, the waves swell, creating a rhythm that weaves into the magic circle of repair upon reaching their crests. The enchantment of repair is complete, but Fern's odyssey still continues. Thank you for being a part of my wanderings.